Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you this evening, this day, whenever you're watching this? I don't know, but I hope this message finds you well. I wanted to talk a little bit about how long are you willing to wait for the promises, for the breakthrough, for that thing that you've been longing for, maybe your entire life. How long are you willing to wait? I was inspired recently thinking about the Abraham of the story of Abraham and Sarah. Abraham, most of you are very familiar with the story, was called out at the ripe young age of 75 to leave his father's house and to go to a place that God would show him, and that he had promised him great things, that he'd become a great nation. And one guy had said that it was almost equivalent to him finally getting out of his father's basement to go and start his way in life, which I thought pretty funny. But Abraham, who was originally Abram, he was called out, and at the age of 75, God spoke to him about his wife Sarai, who later became Sarah, that they were to have a son, and from his own loins and his wife, their seed would become a great nation. They would be the father of multitudes. That's what his promise was. He was 75. You wouldn't think that guy would have much time to make it happen, and considering his wife was 10 years younger still. She was 65 then at that same time of the promise. And they wandered through the desert places, went from people to people as God directed him. And God had really increased his wealth, made him very powerful, influential in the land. He was respected by those peoples around him, kings, and all those people that were great in the lands that he was traveling. But still, time went by, and he still waited, and seemingly nothing happened. It was literally 25 years later, when Abraham was 100 years old, Sarah was 90, that finally they had birthed their son Isaac. 25 years, guys. So I don't know about you, but I've gotten promises in my life. I've gotten things that God has spoken to me, but I have not been waiting necessarily 25 years for fulfillment of some specific words yet. But I've got to ask you, how long are you willing to wait? How long are you willing to hold out and believe and trust and continue to work in the land, in the place of influence that God has directed you, until you see the promise? He doesn't promise that it's going to come tomorrow. Again, Joseph, another great leader in our church history, thinking about his story. He was a young boy. He had dreams that God gave him, that he was going to lead over his brothers, and he was going to have power and influence. And it wasn't until much, much later, after becoming a servant, sold into the house of an Egyptian, and then again later to be going into the prison system of Egypt, until God brought him through that time of testing and trial and brought him out with the character that was ready for the promises. And that's part of it. You know, we've got promises, we've got things that God has said, but there are certain things that God has to do in our lives to where we are ready to receive with meekness and humility the great and awesome things that God has promised to us. And that's what it's all about. It is about becoming more and more the person of love and of compassion and of joy and light that God has called us to be, and who we are in Him. Then we can be ready to receive that and be able to take it in a place of humility, that when we're there, we're not going to think that it was about us, that it was our work, our doing that just made it happen. Yes, there is partnership, and we do work hard and diligently and refine our craft in the things that we find ourselves, the vocation and the callings and the different businesses that we have. We work on it ourselves. We work on the things that God's put before us, but it is God. It's partnership with God who brings about the promises. And I want to encourage you, you that are feeling low, that are feeling weary in the journey, remember Abraham, remember Sarah, that waited 25 years till all the way till they were 190 years old between them. My God, help us. And he does. But bless you. I really love you guys. I hope you're doing awesome. If you have any questions, you ever have anything that you want to talk about, feel free, hit me up, personal message me. Hopefully we'll talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.